Mr. Goldman, if you could share your views on the deficit and the economic quandary we're in.
Yeah, well, it's not pretty, and whatever solution we put in place isn't going to be pretty either. I think you mentioned this, that Illinois now has the second worst fiscal crisis of any state, right behind California, which is not a company that anyone wants to be keeping on fiscal issues right now. To put it in perspective, deficit of $13 billion, the entire state payroll is about $3.5 billion a year. That's for all 50-some-odd thousand state employees. You could lay off every single state worker 3 times over and not close the budget deficit. So there's a lot of rhetoric that gets thrown around, especially from gubernatorial candidates right now, talking about all the cuts that they're going to make. I mean, there's even one of the Republican candidates saying that we ought to cut the income tax in half, have actually less revenue, and somehow this is going to solve our problem. It is going to take a tax increase. And in fact, the main proposal that's been talked about in Springfield, the one that was voted on earlier this year, and the current proposal, House Bill 174, to raise the income tax, that would raise about $4.5–5 billion a year. Again, less than half of what is needed to close the deficit. So there's going to have to be even more that's done. I think one thing that we need to look at is expanding the sales tax, not up, but expanding the base. Currently we tax product sales, we don't tax services in Illinois, and that's now 60% of our economy. And one of the problems of why we're at the point that we are is that the tax revenue base generally does not track the economy. So what has happened is that state expenses go up every year with inflation, but the revenues don't keep track. And this is an old problem. This goes back 20 years. You know, for the folks who remember political history in Illinois, the 1994 gubernatorial election, Dawn Clark Netsch ran on a proposal to raise the income tax, reduce property taxes. Governor Edgar took her to task for that, won handily, and then as soon as he was sworn in again, turned around and proposed the exact same thing. That was 15 years ago. We needed it then. We need it even more now. So there are going to have to be increases, but I think we need to think this through. So getting back to the sales tax for a moment, I think we can expand the base, but at the same time, we need to bring the tax rate down so that we gain some of the benefits. Representative Fritchie was talking about some of the sales tax impacts earlier. So there are some things that we need to look at. The way that the property tax system is, I support the proposal by track, again, that the Representative Fritchie mentioned before, that we get some certainty in place. We limit the annual tax increases and do away with all the black magic of how the assessment system works. If you look at real estate transfer tax, which we rely on, that's based on the sale price of a home. You've got people out there now who are hurting, who have to sell their homes at a loss. They're underwater on their mortgages, but they still have to pay the transfer tax. So why can't we restructure that to base it more on a capital gains basis? So if you're selling at a loss, but you're not making money, you don't have to pay the tax. If you're making money, you do pay it. Lastly, on making it more progressive, the income tax, I support that. Unfortunately, our state constitution says it has to be a flat tax. So we can either change the constitution, which is not the easiest thing to do, or there have been a number of proposals that by basically increasing the exemption rate, increasing the earned income tax credit, we get at the progressivity and make it more graduated. It winds up being sort of the same impact.
I actually didn't realize that it was constitutionally mandated a flat tax. Do you know if it's mandated at 3% or is it in the?
I believe it's mandated at a flat rate.
Flat, okay.
Yeah.
All right, understood. Interesting. All right.